My name is Mikel Lindsaar. I'm the CEO and founder of StoreConnect, and we're going to be talking about AI advancement in action. So you would have been, maybe many of you went to the amazing Griffin's talk yesterday about how to use Agentforce inside of Salesforce directly. This is going to talk about the other side of that. So how can your donors, your alumni, your students interact with your donation platforms and gift giving, and how can you actually go about using it? Now, I am going to have a few slides, but I'm going to make this as interesting as possible. So we're going to do live demos, and this is going to be live demos of stuff that we built in the last few days, right? So this is not months and months and months of preparation on building out these demos. This is very, very fast and rapidly able to be built. So as I said, my name is Mikel Lindsaar. I'm the CEO and founder of StoreConnect. I've been building this thing for about 8 years and learning a lot along the way. So universities, giving organizations have lots of different audiences, and they all have their own specific needs. You've got students, alumni, donors, parents, family, and faculty. All of them need different access to different data and to do different things. And each of these ends up in its own silo and bubble. If you're in the last talk, it was discussing, data cloud and all this sort of thing to bring all that data together. But the problem with these bubbles is that if you have any sort of AI tooling, AI data or siloed data makes AI experiences just horrible. We've got, can you help me with something? Sorry, I can't help you with that, Dave, straight out of 2001 Space Odyssey. This is happening with a lot of AI agents, chatbots. They need the data to be able to access it. And without data, you just get garbage in, garbage out. And the siloed data also impacts your team and your bottom line, because staff spend more time going from system A to system B. But even worse, your alumni, your students are having to navigate to different sites and different checkout experiences, all to do the same thing. And this is what we're trying to solve. This is compounded by the fact that you are fairly or not fairly being compared to Amazon, Apple, and their digital experience. People are just expecting it to all be smoother. And with the next generation of people coming through the lines, they're not planning to call you to give a donation. They want to go onto a website and just submit something and not interact with a human at all if they can avoid it. And this is something that a lot of organizations are grappling with at the moment. Usually this means a bit of an integration nightmare. This is a very accurate description of many organizations' sites and things that are going on. And this integration nightmare really creates a situation where you've just got this mix of stuff to get into the system. This is why we built StoreConnect. So what StoreConnect is fundamentally is designed to unify every engagement, transaction, and relationship in one place for your online giving and your online transactions and peer-to-peer fundraising and signups and subscription giving and all of this sort of thing. Instead of sending them to 5 different systems, you have one place, one website to do the whole lot. If you were to simplify StoreConnect into a few words, you could think of it as all of WordPress and all of Shopify built within Sales Cloud. And you'd have a really good working definition of what StoreConnect can do. We can build multiple websites to different target groups, different designs, and have all of that enabled through an e-commerce environment. And I'll give you a bit of an example of how that works on the site. Now, because all of this is in CRM, that means every single person visiting your site can have unique content that's tailored to them. And you're not having to go and remember to update stuff on the website after you've updated it in the CRM. It's all just one platform. And because all that data's in there, it's all available to Agentforce. And I'm going to show you how that works in just a moment. So this lets you build that unified experience. Instead of having 5 different websites running, you could have one website running with maybe 5 different sets of content. And all of that is in that one platform. You can look after new students who can then become enrolled students or alumni. They can become donors, they can become parents. That whole line can be captured and presented as a single experience on your website. StoreConnect really simplifies that whole architecture. You've got your fundraising, marketing, all of your faculty teams on the left-hand side. They're accessing that CRM data, and that CRM data is being used by StoreConnect all within Salesforce. So none of this data is leaving the Salesforce Trust Cloud. It's not hosted on some random Amazon Web Server database that we've spun up on Tuesday. This is all being run within that trust environment or within the Salesforce firewalls, and we can launch websites within that environment very, very quickly. One key thing to remember here is none of this requires Experience Cloud. So this is all being built on high volume performant web servers. So you can launch very, very high speed websites running on top of Salesforce with StoreConnect straight out of the box. And I mean, if any of you have any questions, of course, come down to our booth and I'll give you some behind the scenes looking, but we're going to dive into that as well in this talk. What you can see in that deck as well is like website, booking, point of sale, all of that. StoreConnect gives you that full 360 view. So everything in that circle in the middle of the slide there, commerce, point of sale, content management, reward and loyalty, multiple currencies, shipping and inventory support, subscription management, appointments and bookings, and multiple storefronts. All of that is out of the box with StoreConnect and achievable with configuration. There's no plugins to achieve that. We've actually had some clients that have come across from, say, Shopify and turned off 20 or more SaaS subscriptions as part of migrating because you don't need all these plugins. Every time you want to do something on many other platforms, you want subscriptions? Well, you've got to plug a plugin in. And now that plugin only does 90% of what you want. But even worse, you now have to check out that plugin's HIPAA compliance and SOC 2 compliance and all the other things. And no one really does that on that line, right? So now we get data breaches, and that's how those data breaches happen. StoreConnect brings all of that into Salesforce, and that's what makes it powerful. And because it's all in Salesforce, it just works with Agentforce, Sales Cloud, Data Cloud, Marketing Cloud. It just works. Everything on that screen is StoreConnect out of the box. So not only can it run your website, but when you go to a trade show or a fair and someone comes up and goes, I love what you do, I'd like to donate, you can take that donation on a StoreConnect point of sale on a tablet, and that's automatically in your CRM, automatically into your Marketing Cloud follow-up, everything. You take a tablet out to when you're doing a gift fundraiser, and you've got people there who want to give a gift. Instead of them filling out forms, you just have someone there with one of your tablets taking the payments directly with a credit card. And that's all instantly into your Salesforce environment. And it's all fully available for your follow-ups and all of your automations that you want to do on that. I was talking to Jeffrey earlier, and he mentioned there was a university in Canada, I can't remember which one, but they had a donator donate $20, and that's all that they could afford. They were an entrepreneur, and they were living on the couch at the time because one of their businesses just failed, and he donated $20 because, he really wanted to help. That donation became 100. He got more and more successful. It became 1,000, 5,000. They kept getting that person through the automation and eventually into the gift officer's desk and to nurture him. And he ended up doing a 50 million and 100 million named gift donation to the school. Now, if there wasn't an easy way for that person to do that initial $20 donation, that person may never have ended up within that pipeline, right? And this is where StoreConnect really comes into it. Your gift officers and your teams do not have the time to go and chase down a $20 gift again and again and again. And if they do, you've probably got some bigger problems. What you actually probably need to do is automate some of that. And I'll make it very easy for people to do it. And because everything's in Salesforce, it just works with Agentforce. And in fact, the demo that I'm going to show you today on Agentforce has at a total time spent on building it about 6 days total, start to finish, including designing all the content for the entire website. Now, I'm not saying that that's how long it's going to take for a consultant to come in and launch StoreConnect with Agentforce in your org. There's a lot of data that has to be organized and worked out, and workflows and guardrails and all this sort of thing. There's very little guardrails in this, and it may well break in this demo. I'm just forewarning you. We threw this together really fast, and I really like doing live demos. So let's do a live demo, okay? And of course, if there are any questions while we're going through this, just let me know. So as I said, StoreConnect is a full e-commerce and content management system built on Salesforce. And when I mean a full content management system, this website here that is running our StoreConnect website, this is StoreConnect running on StoreConnect, built by StoreConnect using StoreConnect, right? So we in the tech industry eat our own dog food is the very technical term. And this whole website, it's a very high speed, high performant website where we're able to click around and use the site. You would not think this is running out of Salesforce. right? You would have no idea unless you knew what you were looking at. And the whole website is super fast because we use web-focused technologies to launch it. Rock Valley are one of our clients. They launched a Workforce Academy store. This is theirs, where they're doing workforce development, they do short courses and things like this. But we have all sorts of clients on StoreConnect. And I'm just showing you some example websites like Early Childhood New Zealand. This whole website is StoreConnect. It doesn't look like an e-commerce store. It's a highly performant, content-driven store. They have thousands of pages of content on this site. And one of the advantages of running all of this out of StoreConnect is here we've got a close date, right? Now this is an application close date. Could just as easily be when the fund stops or when something is happening in your Salesforce org. If the people at Early Childhood New Zealand come in and change this close date from the 12th to the 13th, maybe they made a typo or maybe they needed to do something, they just changed that in Salesforce on the appropriate record. And about 2.5 seconds later, the website's just up to date. There is no step 2 on changing website content. And I'm going to give you a live example of that in a minute as well. All of that can be done straight out of Salesforce. All of this content in here, it's all in Salesforce, everything. And this website also has a bookstore, right? So now we've gone into the bookstore, we're looking at different things to buy, but notice up here, we haven't changed domain name. We're not in a Shopify store or a different WooCommerce store or some other experience. We can even go in and buy a membership directly from here. And it's all just being built directly out of that Salesforce environment. And when we buy that membership, it'll end up in Salesforce as a membership record with a subscription, with a recurring giving or a recurring membership payment being taken. And StoreConnect handles all of that through your favorite payment provider, be it TouchNet, Stripe, AuthorizeNet, eWave, whoever you're using, we can connect through with that. We have all sorts of different clients in all sorts of different industries. Surf Life Saving, they do all sorts of things around training and seminars, and they have these different locations where you can go and do your seminar and go find an event. All of this is configuration, not code with StoreConnect. You can actually install StoreConnect in a sandbox and have this page running by this afternoon if you knew what you were doing. It does not take a lot of work to build it. And even donation organizations like Care Australia use StoreConnect to run their Care Gifts site. This whole site is StoreConnect. Care Australia actually launched it themselves. They did the training they needed and built the whole website from scratch by themselves in their own org. And they do some fun stuff in here. So if any of you are wondering what to buy your associate for Christmas, come in here and just buy them a goat. You can either get a printed card of a goat. Now, obviously, if it's a printed card, you're going to have to get shipping done. So StoreConnect handles the shipping. We're going to get a shipping address and all that sort of thing. You could just do a no-card donation. You just want to donate $47 and feel good about donating and helping someone with a goat. Or you can do an e-card. Now, this is an interesting problem. When you're doing an e-card, if you're thinking about this, all the way through, now you've got to capture, well, who's it going to? What's their email address? What's the message? How do you do that on current platforms? Well, if you're on Shopify, you'd install the e-card plugin or something, which would do 3 out of the 5 things you wanted to capture, but it wouldn't let you list out the alumni that they were or whatever the problem was that you wanted to do. But with StoreConnect, we have all of these forms built into the platform. So you can capture additional information during any checkout process with StoreConnect, and all of that data is saved instantly into Salesforce. We allow you to capture data 3 ways. One is on the actual order item, so the thing that they're donating, in this case, a gift card. You could also do a checkout on the whole order as a whole, i.e., is there a purchase order for this account, or does this need to go under a different name or something like that applies to everything in the cart? Or we can even just do a form on the website that could be a complex multi-step application form to apply for something, apply for a grant, apply to join the school, or apply for anything. And that whole checkout flow, or all those custom forms as they go through, can end up as Salesforce records instantly in your Salesforce org, which you can then trigger ScreenFlows or Apex or other automations to then get them through. And at the end of that, it can go straight to a cart and do a checkout. All of this is possible and doable out of the box with StoreConnect. So let me show you this site. This is our Workforce Academy site. It's a demonstration site that we put together on StoreConnect. This is a demo environment. And you can see we've got a lot of data in here. and all of these different information. We've got, different fundraising things and how much we've raised for them. And we've got all of our certificates and courses in here. We've got, we can go donate. We can look at different funds that we've got. We can go navigate these. We can go look at our alumni and supporters pages. And all of this sort of data is all being powered and driven straight out of Salesforce. We've even got a merchandise store on here. You might want to do gift giving or fundraising through selling jerseys. That's a valid form of fundraising for an organization. So that's one thing. We've got a lot of resources and trade events and all this sort of stuff. But I'm a new generation person, and I'm used to just talking to my computer. I'm not used to browsing a website anymore. So we can launch Steve, our friendly Agent Force agent here. Steve is our Tasmanian devil mascot. If you come down to our booth, you can get one. He's super cute. And Steve is helpfully offering us some things. So I can ask things like, what careers do you offer? And Steve's going to go read all the data that's already in Salesforce, already available to it, and give us summaries of the careers. And we can actually go through the whole process. How much time do I have? We could go through the whole process of selecting a career. So maybe, the electrical career looks good. If I can spell. And Steve can navigate through that and find us what courses and levels and things we need to do on that and go through a whole checkout process. The agent can find what schedules are available in the location where I live, can go into booking those courses and doing all of that. So this is all completely possible on the workforce development side. But how do we do this for alumni or donators? Well, we could say something like, okay, thanks. Tell me what the Academy is up to these days. It's a good question. The AI agent can go and look at all of the current website data that is in this Salesforce environment and list out everything that's happening. Now, understand that this is not a pre-scripted response, right? We've told the agent that if someone wants to know about some upcoming events, you can go check these records, and these records in Salesforce. Now, what does that mean for you? The number one problem that you have as a group, and I know this is true for everyone in every job everywhere, is time, right? You just don't have time to go and update the thing and the thing and the thing and the thing. This way, you put the event in Salesforce once, and your website is up to date with that content. Your agent now knows about it and can now respond to it. And you can do things like this. And maybe I want to go, that's interesting, alumni spotlights. I know Jordan. Tell me more about Jordan. Note, I haven't said that he's a spotlight person or anything like that. The agent is contextually taking data from what I'm asking and giving me direct responses, right? This is fantastic when you want to try and explain to your alumni and donators and everyone what you're doing and how those funds are being used. Let them play with it and explore. But maybe I want to go into, how can I help the Academy? So I'm an alumni. How can I help the Academy? These are all very natural language questions. There's nothing scripted about this. So Steve's gone away and said ways to get involved. Well, you can donate, you can volunteer, you can mentor. There's peer-to-peer fundraising. There's event support. You could represent the Academy with our merchandise. You can stay connected or do social media, right? Very valid responses. So peer-to-peer sounds good. Let's launch a peer-to-peer site. So we ask it, how do we do that? How do we do a peer-to-peer fundraiser? What? We're going to create a peer-to-peer fundraiser through an agent on our website and publish it? Yeah, screw it. Let's try it. Let's see if it breaks. We did actually write this code yesterday, so we'll see, right? So it's saying that I can do a peer-to-peer fundraiser. There's already some peer-to-peer fundraisers going, right? Okay, good. We can go look at the In Memory of Steve Electrician Scholarship. So let's open that page. This fund was raised because Steve didn't do the electrician's course and killed him. Yeah, okay, good. So that would be a good fundraiser, but we can go in and create our own fundraiser. So I'd like to make one. one myself. Let's call it the Mikel, the 30-year reunion bash for the class of what's 30 years ago, making everyone feel old, 1995. Yeah, I feel old now. And it's going to help raise funds for the new building we have going, we have in progress at the Academy. And let's make it for $5,000. So the AI agent is now going to take those instructions and extract out of it the title, the description, the price, all of those sorts of things, and it's going to create a website. Now, we have not optimized the speed of this. It will take 20 or 30 seconds for that to build. We can obviously make this a lot faster in the process, but it is actually generating that whole peer-to-peer page. It's generating the subscription product. It's generating the subscription form. It's creating the content. It's adding the title. It's adding all of that description and creating it. And in fact, we can go look at, while it's going away and building all of that, we can go look at some of these other peer-to-peer fundraisers that are on the page, right? We've got the old reunion, the third Harrison's birthday bash, the in memory of Steve. There we go. It's now made that fundraising page. So it will take a couple of seconds to synchronize down and show us that page, but there it is. Boom. There's the peer-to-peer fundraising page that we've just made. Now, you might want to put all sorts of little guardrails in this, right? You might want to tell the agent, review that peer-to-peer fundraising page for, swear words or inappropriate content, and it will filter it. You can also have it go, this is now ready to go, and it's saying, would you like to publish it? Yeah, let's publish it. And it's going to go ahead and launch and publish that page and put it live on the website. Now, you could have it go through a process where when you publish it, it's going to send someone an email or a message within Salesforce, within your faculty to review that, right? Or it could do all sorts of things and all sorts of different flows. But fundamentally, your agent is able to do real work. And this is replacing someone's time where they would have to otherwise do this in the CRM and manage that entire process. So this gets pretty powerful very, very quickly. The cool thing about all this peer-to-peer fundraising, though, is once it's live, every donation that happens can be allocated to the right fund on the back end in Salesforce, right? You can actually, we could ask additional questions here that, okay, you're launching a peer-to-peer fundraiser, but do you want that to go to the building fund or the scholarship fund or the direct giving fund? Where do you want that money to go? And then you can have rules in Salesforce that every time a dollar comes in on that, it's automatically allocated to that correct fund. So you're not having to chase all of those things down and figure out where those funds are. So Steve said that our page is now launched. Let's launch that. Have a look. There we go. There's our 30-year bash. And it's on the site, ready to go. We can go and choose different donation amounts. We can just go ahead and donate $50 in one click. We can do all that sort of stuff. But I'm also interested in helping a bit more. So let's go back to Steve and say, how else can I help? Now, this is contextually looking at all of the things we've already done. So it's not going to lead with peer-to-peer fundraising, right? Because we just did peer-to-peer fundraising. Do you notice that? So up here, when we first asked, peer-to-peer was included in the list. Now it's not. We've just done peer-to-peer. Why would we recommend that again? So it's very human in the way it's doing it. So I'd like to donate. What funds do you have? And it's going to go find out all the donation records. Now, the other way that the person could obviously do this is click on donate and go into the fund and look at the fund and read the fund and do all of that. But Steve's just come back, or will come back in just a moment. There we go. The Building Facilities Fund, the Direct Giving Fund, so on and so forth. So I'd like to do a 10K donation to the Building Fund. And Steve's going to go off and create a direct to cart link to allow us to create that. And notice the context and the messaging that's coming back here as well. It's not, thank you for your generosity. Good, we'll add that to the cart. There's our 10K donation added to the cart, right? Maybe we want to also do a $50 per month direct giving donation. Steve's going to go off and figure that one out and put it in as a subscription. So here's that record again. So we'll go click that one, and we've now added a monthly donation to the cart. I'd also like to support the scholarship program with a 1K per year. So all of this is happening in Salesforce, in StoreConnect, live. We're creating carts. All of this data is landing in your Salesforce org instantaneously, and you can track this. You can do follow-up emails. Now that we've added these items to the cart, which we've just done here, so now we've got a yearly, a monthly, and a once-off donation, all in the cart, all at one time, all with one checkout, all on one credit card. This is very, very powerful. Also, this gets created as a cart record in your Salesforce org. So if I abandon this cart right now and walk away, in your Salesforce org, it will say Mikel Lindsaar, or in this case, I think I'm Sam Jones, has abandoned this cart. Would you like to do a follow-up email? Or, hey, someone just abandoned a $10,000 donation. Get your gift officer to give them a call. Was there anything wrong? Can we help you in any way? Do you want to see how it works? That's great. Do you have merch I can buy to wear at my birthday bash? It's going to go off and have a look at the merchandise and go pull out all of those products from the merchandise area. So we've got all these different items now coming up for merchandise purchasing, and we can add them to the cart as well. So all of this gives you that real capability of providing, what are we going to do here? Work boots, hoodie. Hoodie looks good. So I'll add that hoodie to the cart. So we've got a whole setup here. We can buy courses. We can do whatever else you want to do on this. But at this point, let's do a checkout. So we come over here, we just check out. Now this is going to take us straight to a checkout page, and look, all of my content and all my details are already there. This is because I'm already signed in, and that's pulling it directly from the CRM. So I'm going to continue on that and accept. I'm going to put in a credit card details here. Don't worry, this is a test credit card, so don't try using it. It won't work. So that's going to go through and run it via my payment processor. In this case, it's using Stripe, but it can use up to 23 different payment providers. And we've got that transaction, and that's now gone all the way through. And that order has now been placed. And Sam Jones now has an order in Salesforce. Sam can log into the portal here and see all of those monthly and yearly donations that they've purchased. They can go in and look at that monthly donation and cancel it, perhaps, or they could update the credit card details directly here in StoreConnect. None of this is requiring Experience Cloud or logins or licenses for your end users and donators. All of this is just built straight into Salesforce. And if we come look at Sam Jones in Salesforce, if we go look at Sam Jones in here, there he is. There are all the orders that he's placed, right? So these are all coming through as records in Salesforce. We can see all the products and orders that they've placed. We can see any subscriptions purchased. This is an older order. But those subscriptions are in the system. We can modify them. We can modify the date they're due. We can modify the amount that needs to be taken. StoreConnect's going to run all of that subscription detail and handling, retrying credit cards, and having all that data available to them in Salesforce itself. We have consoles with dashboards showing how much you've fundraised, how much is happening through the website. All of this information is ending up in Salesforce, which means you can use any of the reporting tools that you use in Salesforce to keep track of what's going. But also, what if we came in and Sam called us on the phone and wanted to change their phone number, right? They didn't know that they could log into the website. Well, you can actually go into Salesforce, and we'll go look at Sam Jones here, and let's go ahead and change their phone number. So this is modifying data in Salesforce. And that's going to go down to the account record, wherever it is over here. There we go, boom. That's now updated on the front end as well. And you can update it here and it will update the back end. This also works for if you wanted to change sites and content here. So if you wanted to change that content, again, jump into Salesforce. You can just go search for it if you really want. You can click on the content block, come over, edit here, go in and go with modern education, hit save, and that's now going to update your website as well. So we can come back over here and reload this page. It'll take a second, and that will update this through into a with. But we don't even have to do it that way. We can also do it through running a website builder and actually launch that whole website. There you go. It's updated to with already. That's come through. But we can go and edit content within the website builder and apply these changes and then approve them and put them through the system. We can preview these changes and see what they look like on all the different browser widths. And when we're ready, we can submit those changes for approval. And as you can see, the website's reverted back to what it was. So if you have legal processes and things or approvals that you need to do before you start modifying the website, you can do that. One of the powerful things about StoreConnect is you can actually give individuals rights to edit certain stores. So you could have different organizations or parts of your organization updating different websites and different parts of the websites with their own approval processes. Even having a store for your alumni groups where ex-students are directly able to modify the website, right, for their upcoming event or their upcoming get-together and things like that. So I've got a few minutes left. Let's go ask Steve another couple of things. So we did our peer-to-peer. We've done our merch. Hey, I want to write, can you help me write a social media post about the scholarship fund? You can actually even get your agents to help your students and your alumni write social media posts. So it's going to craft something great, as it says there. But there you go. You can copy and paste that into LinkedIn. You could actually turn that into an actual link, which just posts it onto their LinkedIn if you wish. But in 24 hours, we didn't get to building that bit out. So yeah, I'm towards the end of the overall demo here. So what I want to end with is StoreConnect is very simple and affordable licensing. It's not millions of dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Our licenses start from as low as 10 grand a year. And our flagship plans for data compliance and stuff like that are around 70,000, but it's very affordable. You're able to get onto StoreConnect very rapidly, very easily. Our partners are available to you, and they can definitely help you with that as well. And if you're interested, reach out to us. There's a QR code there for the website, and I'm now happy to answer any questions. Or I've just blown your minds and you're all in stunned shock. Does anyone have any of these problems with websites, and how do you manage that, and fundraising and donation portals? And yeah, I'm seeing some nods. There's lots of different systems, aren't there? And that's actually one of the biggest problems we get from our clients. As I said, we've turned off upwards of 20 different SaaS products as part of migrating to StoreConnect sometimes. Because you've got your subscription plugin, and you've got your peer-to-peer fundraising one, and you've got your blah one, and your blah one. You can bring all of that into StoreConnect. So there are guardrails. So Agentforce has that internally itself. But you'll see here, for example, I'm asking it very specific data, and it's coming back, I'm sorry, I can't help you with that. Now, a lot of chatbots, that's a really good test. When you go to a website, just ask it to tell you how to write hello world in PHP, and it will usually come back with the source code on how to do it. So this is one of the unique selling positions or points of Agentforce itself, is that a lot of the guardrail stuff is built into Agentforce. So the way Agentforce is designed on the back end is you give it a series of topics and actions to execute on. And if the incoming request is not matched to one of those topics or actions, it won't, right? Now, this has a plus side and a minus side. So the plus side is it's very guardrailed. The minus side is if you ask something in a particular way, it might not help you because it doesn't quite understand that those words marry up. But usually it's pretty good. I don't have to say I'm an alumni to do a donation and things like that. So the handling on that this is why we use Agentforce. And this agent also is only looking at the records that it has available within the Salesforce environment, right? And only the records it has rights to read as well. So, you couldn't come and ask, what's the home address for Stu Jones? It won't be able to, because it doesn't even have access to that data. A really great example of that was, I think it was Hyundai, just for the YouTube channel. That I'm not a lawyer, and I don't know if it's Hyundai, and it could be allegedly Hyundai. But there was a car company that put a chatbot on its website, an agent, and someone recorded themselves going to that website and saying, hey, Hyundai or Toyota, what's the best electric car to buy? And the chatbot came back, you should get a Tesla Model 3. Because objectively at that time, it was the best-selling car, So the agent did the right thing, but probably not the intended thing, right? So this is the guardrails problem, and this is what you're alluding to. So the benefit here is that this is only referencing the local data. So it only understands the local data, and then layered on top of that is the agent, which can understand the natural language to convert it to those local data actions. This is actually really a good thing, because the way you can launch with this is start with something really simple. Like, you can have an agent that comes up and goes, hey, if you want help donating, let me know. And that's all it does, right? And then when you're ready to add the next action, you add the next action. Now it gets a bit more capable and a bit more capable. So you want to roll it out like that in stages. Yes?
Can you talk a little bit about how donations are going into Salesforce automatically, especially in the context of, some institutions using like a managed package on top of Salesforce that provides the mechanism for like accepting in and storing donations?
Yeah, so StoreConnect connects out to a whole bunch of different merchants and payment providers. So we have a connection to over 23, I think now, from TouchNet to AuthorizeNet to everyone. So the way StoreConnect will do a transaction is it is a managed package in Salesforce. So when the credit card gets accepted, we're saving that credit card off to the merchant provider. So we're not keeping that in your Salesforce org. We only store the last few digits. And we create a subscription record that we then automatically rebill against that merchant's vault on that card account. So StoreConnect handles that whole transaction capability. You don't need to also pipe it through another third-party managed package. If you had another managed package which is handling other payments and things, that can also come into Salesforce, and StoreConnect could see them, and we could then show that to the end user if they logged in to see all their payments. We could definitely expose that data. But StoreConnect itself handles its own managed package and its own payments that way. We let you bring your own merchant keys though. So if you've set up a really good relationship with Bank of America or something, and you've got a really good rate on your credit card payments, you can bring those keys with you into StoreConnect, and we can use that same account. So you're not having to only use, the StoreConnect payment system, whatever that might be. Does that answer your question? Good.
And like it looked like it was writing into the orders object.
Yes.
But if we then needed it to write into, or separately needed it to write into our like transactions and pledges objects, that's part of the package.
Yeah. So you would, yes, totally possible. We've got many clients that do this sort of thing. So in non-profit world, for example, every transaction actually goes into an opportunity object because it's part of non-profit cloud or MPSP. So what happens there is that the partner or your Salesforce admin basically takes that incoming order and just does a transaction and creates the duplicate record on the transaction. We recommend you do it that way because an inbound order is an order. Like, it's not an opportunity for an order, whatever, but then you could create that in a transaction. Some of our clients, for example, use Accounting Seed and other accounting packages on Salesforce. So you want that incoming order to write a ledger or to split it out according to fund. You can totally do that with Salesforce automation. And that's actually one of the powerful things of StoreConnect. StoreConnect is only displaying the data that's in your Salesforce org. So if you need to massage that data into something else, then StoreConnect will display that data on the front end website. And any automation you need to do, you can just trigger with Salesforce automation.
Is the architecture like Experience Cloud, so you have some of the same capabilities for building like custom lightning components and surfacing?
Yeah, so we do not use Experience Cloud at all for the front end. We made that decision very purposefully, I think is the right word, because the challenge with Experience Cloud, while there is some reuse and that you can use it, that set of components is not really designed for just website traffic. You can always tell when you've landed on an Experience Cloud site in Salesforce because the spinner sits there and it spins, and right? So we realized in StoreConnect very early that we were building a website and e-commerce package, right, to take transactions. And I'm not sure who released the statistic, but it's something like every 100 milliseconds that you make a person wait on a web page reduces your conversion rate by 10%. So that's a mind-numbing figure. If you're sitting there waiting for a spinner for a second and a half, your conversion rate's dropped by 15 lots of 10%, on top of each other. So that can get really quite dangerous. So what we've done is we've built it for speed. Now, the front end of the website is all just built using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and Liquid. Now, Liquid is the exact same templating language that Shopify use. So when you're looking for a resource to run a StoreConnect website, you basically put out an ad for an ex-Shopify theme developer who wants to learn Salesforce, and you'll get 1,000 applicants because there's a lot more of those in the world than there are Lightning Web Component developer experts. So that just drives down that cost a bit. On the Salesforce side, though, you might want to use different Lightning objects for your staff to do different things. And that's sort of part of the power. All of the administration is done inside of Salesforce, so you can use all those rules in there. If you do have an Experience Cloud site, we can also do single sign-on to the Experience Cloud site. So if you've already got all of that built and you just want to build a really fast website using the same authentication, we can totally handle that. We've got many clients using Experience Cloud as their single source of sign-on. Any other questions? Great. Well, thank you very much. We are down at the booth. It's bang on time at 11:30. Look at that. And thank you for your attention. And we will hopefully see you soon. Come and ask us questions and come and get your Steve. Thank you very much.